Hi, it's Chris, and I want to share with you a very powerful breathing technique that I use all the time to de-stress, to relax, or if I get kind of lost in my head with something, I can just clean the slate and kind of get back to what I really should be thinking about. I'm sure this happens to a lot of us. I've been in a wheelchair 25 years, I've been sober for 10 years plus, and I face the stresses of everyday life like everyone else does in my own way, and I'm sure you do in your own way. But this breathing technique, this de-stressor, is going to work for everybody, okay? So, it's simple, it's easy to understand, but it's actually a little more difficult than it sounds, okay? So, I'm going to demonstrate. Basically, it's 3 counts, breathing. Breathing in 1, breathing out 1, breathing in 2, breathing out 2, breathing in 3, breathing out 3. And that's it. I was breathing in through my nose and out through my mouth. If you can do that, that's great. Little side note, if you have a trach and you have a ventilator, respirator to breathe, you're probably a lot more conscious about breathing than anybody else. So I don't have to tell you about that. But even if a machine is doing it for you or assisting you, you can still use this breathing technique, okay? Now, there's really 3 stages to it. One is breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth. If you can do that, fine. You might want to blow your nose first, or if you can't, then just breathe in and out through your mouth. Whatever you need to do, you can modify. But really, if you can, in through your nose, out through your mouth. Now, the second part is you're going to be conscious of your breath, okay? Now, we're not trying to manipulate the breath. You're not going to hold your breath. You're not going to count to 5 breathing in, count to 5 breathing out. Just however long it takes to breathe in and however long it takes to breathe out naturally. But we're going to be aware of our breathing. And the best way to do that, can you hear that? Is to listen to your breath. Because if you can hear your breath, if you can hear the breath in and the breath out, you are in the present moment, because that can only take place in the present moment. So a lot of mindfulness meditation, a lot of spiritual techniques really are to get you in this present moment. But you can do it in 3 counts with your breath, all right? And you may want to do this before you meditate if you have a meditation practice. Or if you don't meditate, you may want to do this to de-stress, okay? Or just trip up that monkey mind once it gets going and you're thinking about all these things and what you didn't do yesterday and what you have to do tomorrow and what may or may not happen in the future and why this person didn't do that in the past. We get lost in our heads sometimes, and there's a lot going on in the world today, and media is so intense and bombarding us with all these things and things to be stressed about. We can really get off track with where we should really be, okay? So, work with me. Oh, and the third part of it, by the way, is to count to 3. So, really kind of helps if you can do that. So, I'm pretty sure most of us can breathe, can listen to our breath, and count to 3. All right? Now, I'll demonstrate again. Here we go. In through the nose. Out through the mouth. Through the nose. Out through the mouth. In through the nose, 3, out through the mouth. And then just return to normal breathing. Don't try to manipulate your breath or count or just whatever you have to do to breathe. And then try it again. Ready? In. Out. That's 1. In. Out 2. In and out 3. Okay, think of these like a workout, where say if you're doing curls or something like that, you might do 3 sets of so many reps. So the reps will be the count to 3, pause in between, but don't wait too long, and then do another set of 3 reps of your breathing. Maybe do that 3 times, 3 by 3. You're probably going to forget what you were so upset about or so worried about, because you're going to be so much in the present moment, and it's so cleansing, it is so healing, it is so de-stressing, and it's so simple. harder than you might think to perform. You'd be surprised. Especially if you do this and count to 5 or count to 10 instead of just count to 3. You might lose your place. You might lose the count. Now, is that in 6 or out 5? What? I sometimes do it on my hand to count, but really to concentrate, this is for demonstration, but really to concentrate, you really shouldn't use your fingers because then you're really using your concentration. And it's because you're using your concentration very focused in the present moment, you don't have time to think about anything else, okay? So when you get a feeling of anxiety or stress, or you just got off your Twitter feed or got done watching the news and you're all upset about what's going on in the world and there's not much you can do about it, but something needs to be done, and what about the future? And yeah, there's a lot to be worried about these days. But all the more reason to have a technique like this that you can use. You can pull up anytime. You can do it in your car before you start it up. You can, if you're driving somewhere to meet somebody and, oh, maybe it's a job interview, as soon as you park the car, in 1, out 1, in 2, out 2, in 3, out 3. Okay, then you get out of the car and go into where you're going, and you're going to be just a little bit freshened up, a little more focused. You could be in line at the grocery store. It really doesn't matter. It could be loud outside or inside. You could be watching TV and you pause during commercials, and you can do this. So give it a try. Breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth. 1, in, out 2, in and out 3. Doesn't really matter how long or how short the breath is, but if you repeat this a few times, probably by the 2nd or 3rd time, when you get to that 3, it might be a little bit longer. In and out breath. But we're not trying to force the breath or manipulate it. We're just listening. We're just being conscious. The thing we're focusing on is the sound of the breath, the fact we're breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth, and that an in and out breath count as 1, 2, 3. Okay? Easy as 1, 2, 3. Easy to learn, and it's pretty easy to perform. It might take a couple times, but try it anytime, tell your friends, and happy as you go in your day. And when things get a little crazy, before they get too crazy, pull this technique out, really. It'll save you a lot of trouble. It saved me a lot of trouble, and it's really helped me get through some stressful and tense times. Even those times when you just sort of feel anxious and you don't know why. It doesn't really even have to be anything. It's just that feeling, the heart racing, the head pounding, shortness of breath, because you're not focusing, you're not concentrating. You are focusing. You're concentrating on what's going on in your head. This brings you back in your body, and breathing is one of the most spiritual things you can do, other than the fact that it keeps you alive, because the word to breathe, spirare, is the same word where we get spirit. So we have inspiration, we have respiration with our breathing. And I guess when we stop breathing and we die, that's expiration. So it's really all about this breathing. Even perspiration is your skin breathing through sweat, but we're not gonna sweat that right now. We're just gonna breathe, and I'll leave you with one more 1, 2, 3, and I want you to get started. Or you can try to do it with me, but you don't have to match my breathing, okay? Whatever your breath is telling you to do, even if it's you're hyperventilating, go in 1, out 1, in 2, out 2, in 3, out 3. Try it again. In 1, out 1, in 2, out 2, in 3, out 3. Again. In 1, out 1, in 2, out 2, 3. Okay? Let your breath tell you what it needs to do, but you listen, be conscious, and count. All right? Count to 3. 1, 2, 3. We'll see you next time.